Hello, everybody. We are History Dose. I'm Chris from History Dose. This is my brother Joe, and we are here today to do a little bit of a live stream paint session. Watching Joe go to work, we decided that we are going to paint a samurai today. One thing I was thinking is I wonder if people have suggestions during the stream. If they want to throw something in the chat, they're more than welcome to throw something in the chat, and maybe we can accommodate it or change the painting that way. But I would say probably one of our most common comments is thank you guys for your. People care about that. We care about it. And so it's always fun to just sort of hang out, talk to you guys, ask us about anything that's not super political or something like that.
And
try to keep it history focused or worlds.
Are we coming through okay?
Cultural focus. I don't know.
For everyone, because we were having some connection issues prior to the stream.
Leave a comment if we're.
For me, you're kind of breaking up, Chris. I don't know if that's happening for everyone else or if it's just something going on with me.
I don't know. If I'm breaking up, though, let's just get straight into the painting.
Okay.
William says it's a little bit choppy sometimes, but it's not horrible.
Hey, I downgraded my
so Joe, if you want to add
1080. All right, let me add my screen. Okay. Oh, my.
So Joe, you have connection issues, not me. Okay.
All right. Let me do share screen and find my wait, where's my Photoshop?
Some dude. His name is actually Some Dude. It ain't lagging that bad for me anymore. All right.
All right. Sharing my. Is this popping up now for everyone?
Oh, I'm the one who can make it pop up. Here we go.
Oh, is it showing up?
Should be. What do we like better, this or this view? I feel like this view is better. Okay, so right now with Joe, Joe, tell us what's on the screen right now.
Well, what's on the screen is I spent about like maybe 20-ish minutes just laying down colors, figuring out a color palette, and already getting a division between the sky and our ground. So I'm going to start. My idea is, let me open this up. So my colors are kind of based off of these stills. I believe that's Mount Fuji there. And then these are from, I think both of these are from Ghost of Tsushima. And then we have I think it's called Pampas Grass, which is like, if you look at any of like the 4K resolution, Ghost of Tsushima is a beautiful game type cinematography reels. They always have like Jen Sakai walking through this type of grass. So I thought this might be like a good way to have like a field of this sort of grass blowing in the wind, and then have a couple samurai that look like they're about to throw down somewhere in the field. But I'm gonna feel it out. Right now I'm in like the chaos stage, and thankfully I don't have 200 pages of Chris notes and archaeology tips saying, oh, it needs to be like this, and the sun needs to be exactly this way for this battle, so I can kind of free ball a little bit. And that allows me to just, like no rules, just sort of go for it. If it looks nice when I start doing this, then I'll just keep on going in that direction. So I'm kind of like carving out, I'm thinking like maybe a mountain, maybe something like this with that sort of kind of deep blue snow on top. But I'll just see how it ends up looking. So
Okay, Joe, we have a couple questions. So we will get to a bunch of these questions, but let's prioritize some of these art questions first. Okay. William or History by Holiday says, "I'm only curious. If you can't say, that's fine. What program do you use for your art? What are you in? What are you in right now, Joe?"
I can't say. No, I can't. No, I can't say. I'm in Photoshop, so I'm in the latest version of Photoshop, I believe, and then I just have a Wacom Draw tablet, I think it's called. Yeah, I think it's just called like a Wacom Draw. It's like the really cheap, affordable kind of Wacom tablet that you just plug in via USB. And it's what I like started with when I first started digital painting. And because I'm like a Luddite and I got so used to it, I was like, no, I'm not going to upgrade to one of those like $500 tablets. This is good enough. So I've just stuck with it, and it has been good enough. So, I've just adapted my methods around these really old tools, and it works so far. I'm not as efficient as a Midjourney or ChatGPT, apparently, but I think I'm doing okay.
Sinister Astrolite says, "Joe, do you use a custom brush set or brushes that are shipped with Photoshop?"
Some of the brushes that I have are like standard Photoshop ones. So let's see. Yeah, like some of the round brushes. I'm gonna bring like something like this. This is a standard Photoshop brush. But yeah, a lot of my brushes are custom made, or I have like collected over the years from other brush packs. But yeah, I sell my own custom brushes on my ArtStation. If you go to my ArtStation page, I sell like a couple different kind, like the kind that I always use, which is like 151 custom brushes that I've just made over the past several years, and then some like traditional looking wet oil paint brushes, which I very selectively use. But let me bring up those ones. Wet oil brushes. So like these brushes.
You can zoom in so they can see a little bit
Oh yeah.
what that texture looks like.
Yeah, so I really like try to design them. I'm gonna do like a darker thing so it stands up better. To have like, yeah, a lot of like toothiness, a lot of texture. And I've always liked that traditional look because you get a lot of these sort of kind of these accidents where like, oh, okay, this looks cool because the texture coalesced with this in this way, and it blends really cool. And it's not clean. Like I've always hated when like digital art was like way too clean. I've always wanted that toothiness, that sort of like canvas texture. You see, I have some of Greg Rutkowski's brushes here too, which has always been a big inspiration of mine. Him and Craig Mullins are like two of the best digital artists I know, and they've kind of mastered the traditional like wet paint on canvas look, and that's kind of how I've developed my style, kind of similar to theirs.
Someone else, did you train to paint or are you just talented?
I've always liked doing art from when I was a little kid. It was always, sketching, or like even when Chris and I were really young. This is like kind of a precursor to History Dose. We would make little books out of stock paper and like staple them together, staple some pages together, and then Chris would write a story. We sometimes collaborate on the story, but I would do like the illustrations, a lot of the time. So we were kind of making stories. Chris was the writer, and I was the illustrator, so to speak, back when we were only like 9 or 10 years old. We had like I remember we had like a Star Wars one, and then we had like a Lord of the Rings knockoff storybook. So there's that. There's like the ever since I was a kid, I've liked doing this stuff, but of course you need to like know stuff to actually start painting. Like you need to know values. You need to know what makes something good compositionally. Uh, you need to know what colors work best in this scenario. Does this look wacky? Does this not look wacky? And over time, I've just sort of developed that off of studying other painters, seeing how they paint and trying to emulate their style. Sometimes they're classical painters like Albert Bierstadt or John Martin or like the Grimshaw family. They have a lot of beautiful paintings, like dark Gothic paintings. So I would emulate a lot of their paintings and try to kind of like copy them in a way. Like I'd have them up in one window and then I'd start painting. And then over time, I would figure out like, okay, that's cool. The way he did the sun this way. Oh, okay, now I see why he detailed it to look like this and why it's really foggy in the background. You start to understand why these famous painters made these particular choices in their paintings, and then it's kind of like riding a bike. You start to develop that intuition as well. But with that said, I did, I did take several like short courses and stuff. Oh, this is my must have accidentally this is my reference. I'll show you guys my this just popped up. But this is my vegetation reference, and then this will be when I start getting to the samurai. I just collected a bunch of reference art for like shape and armor design. Wait, what was I talking about? Forgot.
Well, you're talking about a number of your inspirations with Grimshaw.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I did take courses and stuff. Not like a full on 200-hour course or something, but it would be like, Craig Mullins has like a 9-hour series where you watch him make a painting and he talks about all of his artistic choices he makes whenever he's charting out a painting, or different concept artists like Eitan Zana. I believe he's worked for Naughty Dog. Like he's had some like videos, like 3-parters, where he talks about how he makes these types of paintings for Naughty Dog and for these different studios. So I like over the years, I probably did a lot of those, but really the bulk of my skill just came from doing painting studies. So seeing an artist I like and then trying to emulate their work.
Yeah, that's some. Yeah, we just got another one in the chat. Do you ever take inspiration from historical paintings? Yeah, I think a lot of your style is influenced by 19th century paintings, I would say specifically.
Yeah, if you look up like
19th, early 20th.
Luminist tradition, like Luminism, that's a big thing for me. Old tonalist paintings, so those are paintings that they kind of capture a vibe, a tone by washing everything in like one color. They're often a little more atmospheric and kind of like will really prioritize sort of like a fogginess or a murkiness to their paintings. I've always sort of leaned towards those styles of painting. Right now, so in case people are wondering, I'm creating these different brush textures, so to speak, and I'm copy and pasting them to try to get like a nice pattern that could kind of simulate grass in a valley. So that's like one of the shortcuts with Photoshop is you can quickly do this and paint something and then move it around. Just trying to get a good Now I'm trying to blend it in, trying to get like a good texture here for this valley.
We got a comment chat from MGF. How long does the art take for a single video? Art for a single video take at minimum versus maximum? Well, I would say
I lose track
our
eventually.
videos recent. Yeah, it depends how long the video is, but I think generally speaking, we've been making, because we've kind of shifted more to like, I don't know, like 18 to 30-minute length videos. A lot of them have been like 25 original paintings. And then some of the stuff, for instance, like the manga one last time, the manga one we just released, that one was 37 minutes and probably close to 30 original paintings. Each one, I don't know, I think if you averaged out, they'll probably take 3 hours a piece. There's probably
Yeah,
some
maybe
that
something
are
like that. Some are like
quicker.
multi-day paintings where it's like
Yeah.
like it's maybe
then
a
some-
big battle painting, and then I sketch it out for one day, and then I come back the next day, and then sometimes it's like, oh no, Chris, this looks really bad. I don't know why I painted it like this.
Yeah.
And then I go back and I try to change the composition. I try not to have that happen because that's a huge time suck.
So if you did like, if it was like 25 times 3 hours, it'd be, I guess, like 75 hours, maybe a few more here and there. So like 80 hours. That's 80 hours just doing the painting too. And Joe also does all the editing and music as well. One of the things that can help is like for the manga one last time, we had a number, I want to say probably like 10 to 12 paintings that we reused from other manga ones.
Yeah, from the Origins of the Mongol video. So we
like we had already
and I
painted
reused some of their
Imogen's
some of the
father
music
and stuff like that.
All right, I just like, so I think this is given the impression of pampas grass blowing in the wind so far, but I kind of want to become a bit obsessed with it and figure out how I can make it look even more realistic.
What kind of role do you think you'd serve if you were in the Mongol Empire?
I don't know.
Well, I feel like I would be part of like a conquered people, and I would give in right away because I know what the Mongols are like. I would open the city gates right away. Be like, "Yep, please spare me.
Come in, Chinggis.
I won't show any defiance."
Uh,
I think I would be.
You would be
like
some
the
sort of
scholar.
scribe.
Yeah, I'd be like the scholar, writing nice things about the Mongols and writing letters for them. I think Joe would probably be the artist.
Did the Mongols have much use for artists, though, now that I'm thinking about it? Like, whenever we find references for, like, Mongol armor or their horses and stuff, it doesn't tend to be, like, something that comes out of China. That's just depicting the steppe people.
Yeah, well, there were lots of people under Mongol authority that were making art or sort of like commissioning these histories of the Mongols, a lot of times with religious themes, like Mongol subjects that were Muslim under Mongol rulers that converted to Islam or something. So I guess that would probably be your role.
Okay, awesome.
Sad Skull says, LL, same here. I'd make a great cowardly slave. Look, you submit soon enough and maybe you don't need to be a slave.
Yeah, that'd be most of us, I think. We'd be cowardly slaves.
Okay, so we got 24 characters long. Says, newer viewer here. I watched the Harold Hardrada more than a year ago and then found your new Mongol video on my feed and have been absolutely binge watching your content this last week.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, well, thank you for subscribing. Both of those episodes are kind of just sort of like epic 30-minute plus blood pumping, brutal warfare things. So
a lot of
you're hitting sort of the epic ones first, but we have a ton of variety on this channel. Okay, got one from Logan Hodges. Is there a topic that y'all would want to revisit? I personally loved the Wild West videos. Yeah, so
Yeah,
first I'll say is we actually do have another Wild West video idea. I don't know. I'll see what the fans want if people want that next, but it was so good that so in the last Wild West video we did, it was the bounty hunter one, and that was the Frank Canton one. That's a pretty fun one.
yeah,
And there's a part of that video
dude.
where, as I was writing the
Sorry.
script, I was like, "Oh, this is." I want to like give some other examples of bounty hunters that did X, Y, or Z, just to give the broader historical context to it. And so I had this idea, and I was like, "Joe, this story is really cool. I think I'm going to mention this." And Joe was like, "No, don't mention that because that needs to be a future video." So
Yeah,
the next time we go to the Wild West, we have an awesome topic in mind, a bit of a darker one, but it's kind of badass.
yeah, it will be. Yeah, definitely more dark. It would be if the first one's spaghetti western, this one is more of a Unforgiven, slightly like a True Detective sort of vibe going on. So if you like either of those, then you'll probably like this.
Okay. So also, I will later in this stream, I will give a teaser for what the next episode, the one that we've been working on, is. Let me, as Joe's painting those plants, I kind of want to show. Got to give a shout out to our folks on the Patreon real quick, especially these two upper tier people, the people in these two upper tiers. I put the link to the Patreon in the description. You know, if you care about real art and content creators creating content, I know it's a rare thing nowadays rather than generating content, but please consider just giving us $1 on the Patreon or signing up for a higher tier. Got bonus videos. We got Discord access for $1. Patreon takes like 50 cents of those, so give us 2 quarters.
Yeah, for $1 you can you can talk to us every day. We have a pretty nice little community right now. A lot of good memeage going on, and then like really interesting niche discussions, which is always pretty fun. We've definitely developed friendships just through the Discord and got to meet some people in person. So it was pretty cool.
People ended up coming on trips who were just part of the Discord, so that was fun. Yeah, it's a good time. It's like the least toxic place on the internet. And then second place might be this stream. We got a nice little stream community going on. Nobody's in a bad mood if you're watching painting.
Yeah, it's like Bob Ross.
So Sinister Astrolite says, "Hey guys." This was like earlier in the stream, so he was telling me it was a little laggy. Let me know if I'm still laggy or if Joe and I are lagging. I feel like it's been pretty good.
Yeah, you're fine now. I think so. I was on I didn't do this for a Jackmeister stream, but I was like, oh, they're giving me an option to do HD. Like, I guess I was streaming at standard definition last time, and then I put it on HD, and I think that's when things started going laggy. So now I went back to standard definition. We seem fine so far.
Someone said, "Love the videos so much." So yeah, he said, "Love the videos so much. I do want to ask what topic or era of history is the most exciting for you guys to cover." Well, I always said, you know, I almost went into history grad school for a history PhD. One of the things, basically, as I was mulling that over, I took like that summer off and I was like, okay, let me start History Dose because it would just be kind of fun. And it started, you know, it's not like we were really making money or anything for the first couple of years, but we had a few videos that did better than expected. But one of the reasons I didn't want to go into academia is just because I get so much history FOMO. I just want to study all of it. So I always think it's the same stories at play in human history in all of these different societies. And so, you know, whether it's ancient Mesopotamia or World War II, I feel like I can get into it. That said, if I had to pick something that I find the most compelling, I always find those eras of history, which a lot of times it ends up being, but not always, but the age of exploration in medieval history, where you have these kind of very distant built up civilizations that are just coming into contact, and we have enough records of those accounts that you can start to see almost these different worlds collide. You know, how does the Inca Empire at these great heights interact with these random Spaniards that showed up, and how do they understand each other? And so that's why we've done a lot of Native American history on this channel too. I find that very interesting. And I think actually the Mongols get you a similar vibe, where it's like these people from the Eastern steppe that you've never heard of just show up in Hungary. And all right, let's see if they can, you know, these people riding these tiny Mongolian ponies, speaking a different language with a different religion. Let's see what happens when they clash with these other people. And so, yeah. Joe, do you have a different answer?
Can you just restate the question real quick again, so I make sure I know exactly?
Do you have a favorite period of history that to study or cover?
That's a tough one. I think as far as the period of history that I've always been most interested in, it's probably mostly medieval history. Like kind of been interested in the Germanic tribes and the Norse culture, but then I also was really interested in, like a year ago, what's his name, Ronald Hutton's work on kind of observing the idea of the witch throughout different cultures, and then the idea of like magic and the practice of magic and how that actually began with ancient Egypt, and then kind of was adopted by the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire had witch hunts, which is pretty interesting because like you typically think like these scourges against witches and this witch paranoia comes about sort of in a maybe early medieval Christian culture, but it actually was something that was adopted by the early medieval Christians from the Roman Empire, which had a huge paranoia against witches and practicing ritual magic, which was outside the bounds of any sort of recognized state religion. So I'm kind of like, I'm all over the place too with history, but yeah, sometimes like something will just catch my attention. Yeah, like I got into reading about the War of the Roses and the 100 Years' War like several months ago, and I started reading up on that a little bit. So it's just like whatever is like interesting to me at any given part of my life. I don't know what it says about me that like the more interested I become in history, I tend to like the more brutal stuff too. So witch burnings and medieval sieges of starvation. That's like what I've started reading recently. So
it's impossible to be bored with it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it really is. If you actually know what like history is, which is just the compendium of the human drama, it is really hard to actually be bored at history. So if you just think it's dates and places, yeah, you're gonna hate history.
We have a question from MGF. What topic of U.S. history that you would want to visit that you haven't yet? That's a good question. One of the things that
Mexican-American War would be interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think also I would like to cover pretty early U.S. history, and specifically kind of, it's like late colonial era, when you still have the Iroquois Confederation. Going back to sort of these clash of culture interests that I have, I think that would be a pretty, we're from New England, we're up in Maine, And so sort of like that New England, northeastern United
Oh yeah.
States, I think could have a really cool ambiance. And it is kind of like a weird confluence of different cultures where you just like have Puritans coming over and trying to make sense
Yeah.
of this world with these people that you know kind of a couple centuries before had no idea were here and were native to these lands. And so how do they make sense of that? How do you found a country out of that? And I also think Joe's art could be really cool. Like, I'm just imagining these beautiful New England forests like we're surrounded with here and coastlines. And then you'd have these, you know, wigwams and lots of, yeah, I don't know. Just it seems like a very beautiful thing to portray and also very dramatic.
Yeah. Also, some of the stuff, um, I would say that like Chris and I have begun to appreciate more is like the indigenous history of New England. Like I was just like I'm kind of always assumed that there would be these sites, but a few months ago I was looking, I'm like, wait, there are like prehistoric artifact sites that go back like 9,000 years, like in Maine, just a couple hours away from us, which is kind of crazy. Like to think you could have during the birth of these civilizations over in like the Mediterranean, you just have like some Native Americans out fishing in their canoes in Maine. I don't know. It just it feels really weird because for most people, the history kind of starts um, post contact, but it is kind of interesting to think that no, these lands are also very ancient too, and they have their own artifacts and archaeology here.
Yeah, there
Like
were
they're
people living full lives and, you know, with names and battles and civilizations and
and
achievements at the same time that the
beliefs, yeah.
pyramids were being built and way before. And so, yeah.
And they found like a canoe in a mud flat in Maine, and I think it was like it dated to like probably it's like the Second Crusade or something. It was just kind of interesting to think about like right, these people in Maine were just like you know, maybe looking for shellfish or maybe even trying to hunt a whale or something at the same time that you have already these completely formed religions um, in the Middle East battling each other over the Holy Land. It's like completely different worlds that have developed, but they just share one planet. It's kind of cool to think about.
All right, so we're 32, 33 minutes in about, and we've
Wow.
got our mountain and our windswept grass. So what are you doing next to this painting, Joe?
So I actually have sketches of some samurai guys. So I was thinking I might make them a little smaller, but just thinking, yeah, maybe one guy up here with his sword drawn, or maybe he's going to go for a sword, and then we have one guy in the foreground, and I wanted him to have, let me see, like these sort of like the antlers, like that would look pretty cool. But I don't know. Before I get there, I might work a little more here and see what maybe a windswept tree would look like in this valley. That'd be pretty cool too. So just gonna I know I don't know if this is like boring to anyone, but I find it very calming and contemplative just painting grass and mountains and fog before I get to no, this is actually the scene of two guys who want to rip each other's guts out.
I'm also always jealous of Joe. I mean, you can see Joe can do this work while talking about whatever. You could talk about witches or um, I don't know,
Yeah.
favorite period of U.S. history. For me, like Joe can listen to all these podcasts and stuff like that. For me, because so much of my work is reading or writing, there's very few times where I can ever really listen to anything unless it's just music with no lyrics and it won't mess me up.
Yeah, it's one benefit of art is I don't have to read, and so I'm able to multitask a little better than someone who is doing a pretty close reading of some Mongolian source and trying to get the name of the cons right. But There's like a part of that for me if it's like a really detail oriented painting, and Chris is like, okay, it needs to have these pauldrons, and here are like the 5 references that you can use for this type of helmet, and make sure their boots kind of look like this. Da, da, da. Then that, like, I can't have like the Rest is History podcast playing on in the background, because then I just like I can't read all the stuff Chris gave me. I can't listen to a podcast and like read about the Mongol stirrups or something like that at the same time, or else I'm gonna miss stuff. So, but once I get into a painting, yeah, it becomes like an easy way to just rip through some audiobooks or podcasts.
We just got somebody who just joined the Discord right now, so I wonder if they just joined the Patreon.
Whoa.
Are you on the
Are you
stream?
are you in the
The new
Discord right now?
person on the stream.
Oh, they just joined.
They just joined the Discord. The
I'll
world's
say hi.
best Discord. Okay, we've got a comparison to Sekiro here. I've never played Sekiro, but I saw some gameplay about a month ago, and I was like, that looks so beautiful, but also looks incredibly hard. So I don't know if the difficulty is so insane that it becomes more frustrating than anything. Because it does look pretty appealing. It does look pretty cool. As it seems to have a very beautiful ambiance.
The game I'm most excited about right now is probably just the Black Flag remake. Looks pretty cool.
Okay, so so it says at the beginning of Sekiro, there's a moment where you're on a horse and you lean down and touch these white flowers as you cross through a field. Sounds awesome. And the music hits, and it's just insane. Samurai are also maybe the coolest looking warrior in history. I think like Teutonic Knights are up there too. The Teutonic Knights, when they have it's like basically as much ornamentation as you can offer. Like if European knights or samurai or whoever has antlers on their helmet, they're up there. That's all you need. The winged hussars are really cool too.
Yeah, that actually was something I liked when in the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, showing some of those they seem pretty historically inspired outfits of the kind of almost like romantic looking knights with the giant headpieces and cloth veils and stuff.
Yeah, the more decoration you can add,
I'm looking for
better. A lot of those Chinese warriors too. So we had wait, that's not Sekiro, that's Ghost of Tsushima, my bad. Ghost of Tsushima is very beautiful too. That's what we've played.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounded like Ghost of
Tsushima.
Tsushima. I was like, oh, did like Ghost of Tsushima steal that from Sekiro or something? And you get like a different brush. Try.
Yeah, I think some of those like Byzantine warriors look very cool. Varangian Guard looks very cool. Like the sort of like nasal cover that also turns into a visor is just, those are instantly cool warriors.
Yeah.
Let me see. I want to find that Hushahu painting.
I think it's on my ArtStation. Yeah, right now I'm just making a tree, trying to figure out the best way to kind of texture the leaves here. You also notice when I'm like painting, I'm grabbing colors that are already laid down on the canvas. So like I'm adding a bit of the color of the grass to the tree because I kind of want it to be tonally consistent too. Like if I just, for instance, decided to, let's make it this kind of green, it just doesn't work. Like maybe that would work in a different type of painting with a different lighting scenario, but we kind of want to keep our colors and values kind of close to each other to give that impression that they're all occupying the same place, that illusion that This isn't something that someone made with a Wacom tablet in Photoshop.
All right, we got a super chat in. Thank you so much
Thank
for the
you.
super chat. 229 1462. Any plans on
Thank
doing
you.
a Tamerlane video about his life and conquest? I feel like he's such an underrated conqueror and the true successor to Genghis Khan. It's weird that no one really talks about him. Yeah, so that would be the next idea. So basically, if you've been following the channel for a while, the last video that we did took it up, basically took Genghis Khan's timeline up into the Khwarezmian destruction. And I think there were a few comments saying like, "Oh, you're doing a Khwarezmian episode next," and it's like, no, actually, we made that. We made a Khwarezmian episode in 2022. So that timeline is essentially closed. You know, I never want to say completely goodbye to the Mongols, so we will find battles and certain events in there that we haven't covered. But there's sort of a chronology that has been covered there, and so my next idea is for at least the next long epic episode that we do, or maybe focus on one character, or the next time we're kind of back to the quote unquote Mongols. Yeah, it would be Timur. And yeah, I was trying to think of like a cool title, and I was like, actually, you know, he tried to fashion himself as the sort of the second coming of Genghis Khan. Like he tries to legitimize himself using all of these different ways and say that he has a common ancestor with Genghis Khan, and he's the protector of the Chinggisid line. And so, yeah, there could be something like, you know, he also had this, sometimes could play on this religious element on purpose. So there is probably a title you could do like Timur, the Genghis Khan of Islam, or something like that,
Yeah.
which is a title that he would really like for people to apply to him, I'm sure. But yeah, we were talking about him a little bit in our last thing. We got, do you guys ever plan to cover the Three Kingdoms period in China? I don't know. We got to think about a Chinese topic. I don't know. I guess I'll disclose it. Yeah, I'll disclose it. It's not really officially announced or anything, but I'll just disclose it to you guys. So the next group trip, that is happening is the Peru group trip, and that's in September. There's like 2 more days to sign up. I'll show you guys some pictures in a second, just because you brought that up. But then in 2027, it would be China, and so we're like tentatively planning probably late spring, early summer. And so before then, we want to cover at least 1, maybe 2 Chinese topics. One of those I was thinking would be Tang Dynasty, but yeah, something to give people, I don't know, like golden age China, to put in some context of some of the things that we'll go see when we're there.
Yeah.
So while Joe's making that tree, I did want to shout out, just because we're really coming down to the wire here. Basically, we're supposed to have another month to sign up people for the Peru trip, and so Joe and I were like planning this.
We had shorts.
like,
We had an interview planned. Yeah, we had a lot that was just going to be fun to research and to help promote the trip. But
yeah, so we're gonna make
something
some shorts on like Inca stonework and stuff, and then at the end, I'd be like, "Hey, you can go see this in real life." Now, we learned on Friday night, I just checked my phone at like 10 p.m. and I learned that there's so much traffic at Machu Picchu, plus the Peruvian government is really trying to control access to the site and prevent overcrowding and stuff, that they need to know months in advance who's going to make sure you get tickets for everybody. And so now, instead of having another month that people can sign up for the Peru trip, we have maybe 1 to 3 days or so.
yeah,
And
it's
so
kind of a bummer.
let me throw this on stage. We got in the chat, we have William. William, if you want to tell, William's coming on the Peru trip. So it's going to be September 14th to the 21st. I put the link to the trip in the description of this video. So even as you're watching the live stream, just open that up in a separate tab, because there's some really, really cool stuff here, hosted by these guys. I made this photo a while ago. So actually we have 10,000 more subscribers than we did then. We got 840K instead of 830. Two brothers exploring history in the world since 2018. That was us in Egypt last November. And we went to Mongolia the year before. So this one will be Peru. Obviously, we love the Inca Empire. Raise your hand in the chat if you watch the Inca video. So we'll go see a bunch of Inca sites there and Spanish sites in Cusco. It's going to be like based around Cusco. So what's included with that tour price? You know, you'll be in 3- and 4-star hotels the whole time. One of them is like kind of in the jungle around Machu Picchu, which would be very cool. So Inca ruins, yeah, it covers a bunch of the meals, all of the travel that we do in there. If we're going to any other city, all of that travel and all of the site expenses and entries are covered, and a professional Peruvian guide. Yeah, if you remember this one from the video, there's Sacsayhuaman, is that basically it's sometimes thought of as a fortress. Maybe it was more of a temple, but at least during that Spanish invasion, it was used as a fortress by the Incas. And the Spanish ended up taking it with, you know, like basically great losses and great combat and violence in order to overwhelm this. But it's like a multi-terrace. You can see the way those stones are cut. I mean, thousands and thousands of pounds perfectly fitted together like a jigsaw puzzle. Obviously Machu Picchu. If you remember from the video, that first Inca emperor, when the Incas actually become an empire, that's Pachacuti. And so it's thought that Machu Picchu was his royal estate in the clouds. And you have kind of his servants in the royal court living up there with him as almost like this royal getaway sacred spot up in the mountains. So we'll go there. And then much more. These are these massive morai terraces, perfectly circular and round. And the Inca town of Ollantaytambo, Spanish churches. We'll go to an indigenous community village. It's just going to be really cool. It will be very beautiful.
It'll be really fun. Can't wait.
There's some llamas. Why this tour? We got 5 stars from everybody who's gone on our trips. And actually, you know, there's lots of tour guides you could get that do not care about the history, or it's just an influencer Photoshop. I don't know. Like anybody who's been on our trips before, you just, there's probably some of you in the chat, but you're just connecting with a bunch of people that love history and are down for an adventure. And it's like instant camaraderie. I'm sure you guys have people in your lives where you're like, hey, I want to talk to my mom about the Ming Dynasty, but my mom doesn't care about the Ming Dynasty. And now you can find a bunch of people that want to hear your history rants. And yeah, I mean, you hang out for, you know, a week plus, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have people who like still say, oh yeah, I still keep in contact with this person from the trip, even though it's, you know, it maybe has been a year or longer since we all departed from that trip. But yeah, we've definitely developed friendships with these trips, and a lot of people have found friends on the trip. It's a really fun getaway.
Yeah, so like I said, I think they're going to close down the trips. I wasn't clear whether they're going to let me decide or not, but they want it definitely closed down by the 22nd, so Friday. I would say you probably want to book on Wednesday or before, just to make sure like it's still going to be open. But yeah, I mean, you can put 25% down at the link in the description. I just put it at the top of the description. Even if you're kind of on the fence, it's just at the top of the description. Go open it in a new tab. Just scroll through the itinerary. We got me, Joe, and then plus another 8 travelers. Some people have gone on the trips before. A bunch of them are new people. So it's also, we always have a very cool international crowd. So we got a guy from Australia this time. I think more than one Canadian. So it's a good time. Just click on that, and hopefully see you soon. You can always just hit me up on Instagram if you have any questions about the trip or concerns, or Yeah, we also have that historydose@gmail.com if you want to send an email with some questions. But yeah, that's going to be awesome. So please sign up for the trip. It's going to be fun. I'd love to have like a couple more people.
Yeah. It's just we didn't.
Sure.
We thought we were gonna have more time to promote it, but we didn't realize that Machu Picchu was selling fast, and then it's like, oh yeah, you guys only have a few more days. Oh, I thought we
Yeah,
had
I saw some
30
video on
days.
Instagram that was like, it looked like a line that was like half a mile long or something. And it was people trying to get tickets the day of, and they limit that.
Yeah,
And someone was like in Peru for it. They're like, I guess we can't see it today. Maybe we'll try tomorrow. And so that's why, in order to reserve, 10 plus tickets, you got to sign up now. So, Furin, hi guys, you really set the love with the Incan saga. Yeah, thank you. It made us fall in love with the Inca Empire and made us really want to go see all of those, all those amazing sites, because it's such, it's the biggest indigenous American empire, and there's so many qualities of it that kind of felt like ancient Rome in a way, where you have kind of these recruitment systems and a tax system and a census of everybody in every district. And you have record keepers that are kind of your scholars, basically writing down and keeping your history on these quipus. You have these very sophisticated state functions that I just felt like completely got overlooked. It seems like if anybody knows an indigenous empire or state, it's almost always Aztec.
yeah.
And we do want to do an Aztec episode in the future. Maybe that could combine
Yeah,
with a
that's gonna
Mexico
happen.
trip at some point. But for now, I just love the Inca Empire. There's like a saga that needed to be told. Very unique culture up in the clouds, but also all of these different terrains, and pushing their empire to the edge of these frontier. And also in their records, because we have that Spanish, what's really nice is that so much of that history is preserved within a generation of the founding of the empire, because it had only really turned into an empire about 100 years before the Spanish got there. And so you still have people within living memory or a generation removed from those first events. And so, yeah, a lot of them, you're going to get the official state history understanding of it. But it's going to be, roughly accurate and give you a chronology of things. And the way that they talk about the people beyond their borders, it's like, okay, we want to take over the Chimu Empire, but the Chimu are also incredibly sexually immoral. So we kind of look down on them. And then the people of the forest are cannibals. And just very similar to those Roman sources, you're like, well, I don't know how much I can trust everything that they're saying. But it's also how an empire justifies its conquests.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it seems very Roman in a way. It's that you have barbarians along your borders and all of that stuff. Yeah, for instance, super quick communication. Yep, the Chasqui system, infrastructure, strong army. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's an amazing empire, and I was glad to bring a few 100,000 people into full appreciation of it with our videos. We got a comment from William. Have y'all ever thought about doing an episode on the Vietnam War? Sorry if it's too controversial. No, it's not too controversial. Thank you for the chat, William.
We know some Vietnam War veterans who may be willing to give us an interview as well.
Yeah. Why don't I, while I'm here and on a similar topic, let me just tell you guys what the next video episode or next episode is, what we've been working on. We've got a small crew here. We've got 35. I guess we're not really spoiling too much. But so last February, Joe and I flew down to Florida to interview a World War II veteran. I won't give you his synopsis.
This February.
Yeah, well, yeah, this past February.
Yeah.
So this is us with him. I don't want to give you all the information. I don't want you to go look him up, but basically, he's well known in some quarters, but he hasn't really fully had his story told by anyone. And so it's our job. We filmed along with, if anybody knows the channel, Memoirs of World War II. They helped us film it, and we basically co-interviewed him. We talked for almost 3 hours. And so right now, it's really just Joe and I going to, let me put your painting back up. Joe and I filmed this amazing story, European theater of World War II, and all these amazing things that this guy saw. And this guy will call me on my cell phone too, and we'll just talk and like fill in some of the blanks. And it is really cool. Just World War II veteran has all these memories of things that happened. And for me, that's World War II is what originally got me into history. So these are the events that I've been reading about since I was in middle school. And it always seemed larger than life. These massive characters interacting, or these battles, and the enormity of evil that was perpetrated as well. And so to have somebody who was there witnessing it and on the ground is actually amazing. So what we've been doing is kind of like going through a story, figuring out where things happened, and the way you normally tell a story too. Like if I asked any of you what your life story is, you would get to some certain point and then you go, well, actually when I was 8, this happened, or you need to know this context for this. And so it's the same thing when this guy is 101, but his memory is great. But it's also when you're talking, he has to go back and fill in blanks, or you ask a follow-up question. And so it's partly about organizing those things and making sure, when he talks about a concentration camp, 10 minutes into the video and 45 minutes into the video, we can sort of edit those so that that part happens chronologically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming along pretty well. I think within a couple weeks, maybe a week and a half, it'll be out. And also, yeah, we've been figuring out basically where he was, and we'll have a map and stuff just to make it, to tell his story. And he also has an amazing life after World War II. But tell his story, but also make it a history lesson as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty fun. And I just feel like it was, they're all getting older now, and it's hard to find one that's not in the triple digits now. Hard to find a World War II veteran. So Chris and I just kind of felt an obligation to be like, okay, it's kind of a now or never thing. We need to kind of execute on this. And so we made the trip down to Florida, and thankfully able to get an interview from him. And he's a pretty funny guy, and hopefully that kind of comes through in the video too. He's a really.
I hope
nice
you guys
character.
will watch it. I know it's a little bit different than our normal content. We will keep it so that there's still narration from me. There's still a history lesson and stuff, but obviously
Maybe
it's going to be less of like the art and sound effects as normal, but it's going to be, we'll have our same instinct and visual eye brought to this story and making it compelling. So I hope you guys are excited to watch it, and I hope you will watch it, and we can get some people to hear these stories that have been not really told or told properly like this before.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter Griffin. Love y'all's channel. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Did we say we had somebody? Okay, 24 characters long. Just joined as a peasant in the Patreon. Hey, we don't call anybody peasant. It's the villager, which is kind of a peasant. But yeah, that's the $1 tier. Where would I find the Discord link? There is something where you have to, if you look up like link Patreon account with Discord, you will get a page called Getting Discord Access. And so it's something you just go through Patreon. It will like add you to our server automatically with your Discord account. And then when you go in, it will have a role for you based on your Patreon tier. And yeah, so it's nicely tied and sort of automated that way. Okay. And at the same time, he says, never mind, I found it. I see his comment saying, never mind, I found it. All right. We both wasted our time with that. Okay. Furin says, maybe you want to hear that. I've been into history for most of my life, but I did abandon it at some point, and your Zulu War video took me back in. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I've been thinking about the there's a couple other African history ones, yeah, that I'd like to do. Maybe Ethiopia. Yep. William Z, I think, referencing what you were saying, Joe, about us losing a lot of these veterans. Unfortunately, it's going to be the same way with Vietnam veterans. We must preserve their stories. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Before then, we probably want to interview a Holocaust survivor as well.
Yeah, and we're kind of in touch with someone who might be able to help us out.
Yeah,
I mean, I think there might be some in possibly New York or something. But yeah, like you said, you've mentioned this before, but the grim thing about Holocaust survivors is you kind of have a little more time because you could have been a kid in a concentration camp.
Yeah, where you could not have been really a child soldier, at least for the U.S. You could be 17, but not legally. But there are people that lived through the Holocaust, and they have those memories from when they were 8 years old or 7 years old.
Yeah.
Someone says it's going to be like your mob videos style, the World War II veteran. It will be more interview than that because we want as much as possible. The mob video style was an interview with Frank DiMatteo, who was part of Joe Gallo's crew, but I was also just telling Joe Gallo's history. And so he was helping fill in those blanks and give a mafia perspective to it. For this, the actual goal of it is to tell this person's story. So the times where I chime in are going to be less, but they will be kind of like maybe general overview. Here's what's happening after the Battle of the Bulge, or here is where his unit went, and this is what he saw, and then it will go back to the interview. But yeah, that's going to be a cool one.
I need to make an accurate katana shape.
All right. Masood Shah says, it's nice to meet you both. I follow Joe on his official Discord everywhere, but it's a great honor to see him here. Okay, awesome. Are you on the Discord? I don't know if you mean the History Dose account.
Yeah, I was going to say I have an official Discord, but I'm not aware of it.
There was somebody reached out telling you that there was someone impersonating you on Discord.
Yeah, there was someone impersonating me on Discord recently. They're
trying
like,
to get commissions.
Hey, I'm excited to do the commission work with you. Just want to make sure this is actually your user in the Discord. And I was like, no, that's not my user, but I guess someone's impersonating my identity and trying to get commission payments using my name. So I do not endorse that, obviously. But yeah, that's the I've also had people use my name in AI prompts too. So it's kind of like a bittersweet thing where it's like, oh wow, people like my work so much that they want to like steal it to make their own work. So it's weird times.
How about a video on the Phoenicians? We have something similar coming up. I don't want to say any.
Oh no!
I don't want to say any more than that. But there was something that the Patreon people at the $10 tier and up on the Patreon get to vote for upcoming topics, and they pick something that is similar to that. So Eldon from the Immortal Art. Hi, Eldon. Says hi, brother Feely. Brothers Feely is what we are. William says, can't wait to see the World War II video. As I said, William said William is signed up to go on the Peru trip. So
Yeah, it'll be fun, William. Can't wait
said,
to
yes,
see you
sir,
there.
I am. I can't freaking wait. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, like I said, it's right that first link in the description. I just dropped it there. These are the last couple of days to sign up. So if you're at all on the fence, just let me know. Or yeah, I mean, you could put down a 25% payment and then you're locked in. You got September to lock in and go explore the Inca Empire with us. I feel like
That's
our
gonna be
mood
really
is
cool.
is generally just about is this. We're kind of casually talking about history and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah. It's like hanging out, sort of like it's. I don't know. One of my favorite days on the Egypt trip last. What was it? Was that August? Was it August?
that
No,
was
no, it
November.
wasn't August. It was November. Um, we had at one point we were in Luxor, so we were there to go check out all the temples and the tombs, etc. And we had a hotel that was like right on the Nile. Like you could go down to the pool, and the pool was like right against the Nile. You could see boats go by, and it was beautiful when the sun was setting. And it was just us and like a few other people. Um, and we just like got talking, and it was just like hanging out with friends, and it was just crazy because we were on the Nile. Like we had like one of our buddies from Mongolia, someone from Ireland, another one from like Colorado, and it was like, oh, it's just really cool that somehow this brought us together. We're all in Egypt. We're just talking about history in our lives and stuff, and
Drinking a
um,
beer on the banks of the Nile. That was fun.
yeah, the Sakara beers, and yeah, I know at least yeah, one of those people they're returning for the Peru trip too. So hopefully, we'll have
A
a lot
couple
of
of them.
great yeah, a couple of them, a lot of great discussions to come.
Any Africa content in the future? Yeah, like I said, I think I'm leaning toward Ethiopia as the next one. So we got a number of ones that we're really thinking about here. I would like to do Northeast Native Americans like Iroquois, probably Ethiopia. So we got a number of ones,
Yeah, I
and
know
then we
you were
have these
talking
Cobra
about
too.
um, how it might be interesting to explore what the forests in Maine or just in North America in general were like before kind of industrial logging came about, because they were
Yeah.
completely different ecosystems.
Yes, Joe. Thank you. Um, Eldon from the Immortal Art. Yeah, we did earlier in the stream. Joe was mentioning he uses this is a Photoshop is like kind of his canvas,
Yeah.
and where he has all of his brushes and stuff like that. And then he uses a digital pen. It's on a Wacom tablet. It's kind of like a stylus.
It's so
Old
nice painting this with because I mean, right, I'm not right now I'm kind of doing like it's like samurai fantasy, so I'm not like I don't have to have like 20 references for what the pauldron would attach or something like that. I mean, still historically plausible, but it's nice to not have to paint something and be super historically obsessive about it.
Okay, Old Knight says something. There's a very common comment on the last episode. Bros, please, where can I listen to the music used in the Mongol series of videos? It's so good. Joe, yeah, if you could talk a little bit about all those are made by Joe.
Yeah, some people were, at least one person I saw was like, well, they say their videos are like written and illustrated by humans, but they weren't composed. I was like, oh my
Oh yeah,
gosh!
someone was
Like
like, I hope that the music
I thought
AI like
music would be the escape. Like, okay,
yeah.
maybe now I can't prove I'm a real artist, but like now I'm finally starting to get into digitally composing music and bring up my DAW and finding all the instruments I need. Like AI will never take over that, and it has. So now I can't get credit for the music, but no, the
No,
music is
so
really fun to
well,
make.
no. What I was saying though is what we are. We want to make a a process video where Joe will show
Yeah.
how he makes the music. Right now he has, you can probably see it. I think it's a little bit over your shoulder. That's the keyboard that you play the music on.
Can you see it?
Yeah, and so there's like the instrument software. You can play in different instruments and then buy different modes to play like authentic Mongolian instruments and stuff like that. Because what we were finding before Joe started making that music is that you kind of, if you wanted something authentic sounding, you're kind of out of luck for a lot of this stuff. Because, and if you've watched history YouTube for long enough, it's like the same songs that you hear for the Mongol videos are in the Chinese and the Japanese videos, because these stock sites will have like 3 or 4 Asian, like quote unquote Asian seeming songs that all the creators use, and none of them are authentic. They're kind of very stereotypical. And then yeah, if you want to go with like Native American stuff, like yeah, good luck. There's no demand for that, so they aren't making that. And yeah, just like everything else in History Dose, all of the content is made by humans, and it's Joe making the music now. We haven't released it publicly.
I didn't tell you. I forgot to disclose this entire time. This has been an AI generated video of me speaking.
Don't joke like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
someone's gonna clip that, and then you're screwed. Although I don't think AI can really make videos past 10 seconds long, so probably good. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, so we'll do like a process thing showing how Joe makes a song, and probably upload that to his channel. And then we'll just have a way just to show everybody, here's how it's made. But yeah, the reason why we haven't released the music is because there's a high likelihood people just steal the music.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way we can get around it. We thought making like maybe a low entry Patreon thing where people could get access to
playlists. Maybe you could get access to the soundtracks. A lot of people. Sometimes people are asking for them because they want to just play the music in the back of like their D&D campaign or something like that. So,
or at the gym, they want to sound like they're about to tear down the walls of some medieval fortress and go pillage it. So, yeah, the music is really fun to make.
Well, we're related, so.
Yeah, the music is always, it's fun to make. I've learned to really love it because it's once you like find the right instrument, like okay, throat singing drone effect for the Mongols, then let's just have what's known as the horse head fiddle that comes out of Mongolian culture, also known as might not be pronouncing it right, but I'm just going to pronounce it how I think you're supposed to. A Morin Kur. You'd have that come in while the drone is like slowly coming to a climax, and then you get like this kind of like brutal melody, and then you bring in like the big taiko drums, like, and that's when it gets like really blood pumping. I did that for the intro scene of the 4 generals of Chinggis Khan, the Dogs of War, and I just remember like someone timestamped it as like absolute chills. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that track paid off, because I was like, I want this to kind of feel like sort of heavy, yeah, blood pumping. The Northmen, like these people are, you know, all business, and you do not want them outside of your medieval walls. And yeah, I think I captured the tone pretty well, and I'm looking forward to more Mongol content because I can do more throat singing.
Okay, I just wanted to check out the Discord here. We've got a couple of new people joining. I don't know. We got the 9th Nazgul here. I don't know if that's somebody from this stream who came in. Just let me know in the chat if that's you.
How many people do we have on the stream right now?
The long-term member of our Patreon said, I think we got like 38, 40. Anyway, Jan Giska says your windswept tree, maybe flip it to match the direction of the grass wind, or maybe it's better as is. My skill level is MS Paint, so
Yeah, I was
Remember,
thinking of doing
if
that.
you join
but
the Patreon for $1, you can.
I like how it like orientates the eye
Join.
inwards towards the scene, and maybe you could just like the impression is the wind blows either way in this valley, it blows in either direction, and this tree as a sapling began growing during a time when the wind was going this way instead of right now going this way. Yeah, I could try flipping it, just see what it looks like. But I kind of liked how it looked compositionally with bringing people's eyes in. It could even look good over there.
You might have to like shift the other guys over then.
Wait, let me just. I'm gonna do some Photoshop tricks.
Joe, when you
I don't know. What do
finish-
you guys think? Should I put it over here? Put the tree here next to this samurai. Kind of boxes out the sky a bit, but maybe that's fine. And then take out this tree. The chat is helping me paint. Wow. I feel like we just need to live stream all of my paintings from now on so I can get good tips. Yeah, I kind of like it like this.
So you get rid of the other
cool.
tree.
Yeah, I'll get rid of the other tree then.
Yeah, I guess he's kind of like under the shade of it almost.
Yeah, well, he's under the shade of it, and then I kind of like how it's like kind of menacing looking, like almost like claws or something. I'll get rid of this tree. Bye, tree.
Don Smith.
Hi, Don Smith.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to read this. Don Smith, but I want to read that last part as the red. Or if it's Don Smith Air Red. I'm not sure. Don Smithard. Maybe that's what it is. I look forward to an episode from you guys more than anything else. I show my children your work, all boys of different ages. They all watch it intently. Thanks again. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. Thank you, Don.
We are molding the minds of the next generation. Hopefully we mold them correctly.
It's funny. Somebody sent Joe. Somebody bought some of Joe's art. And yeah, and if any of you guys want to hang up Joe's art in your house, I put the link to his art page in the description of this YouTube video. But somebody bought his art from the Tsingtao video or Qingdao. And if you remember, that's the World War I battle. That's Japan versus Germany. So it's just kind of fun that those later allies were enemies in this war, and Japan was allied with England in this sort of joint assault on a German colony in China. But somebody's son, I think he was like 7 years old, but he loved.
I think he was younger. He was like 5 or 6 or something. I think he was like very young, but he just liked World War I a lot.
Like World War I and the planes, and so they bought Joe's painting and like had like a canvas print of it up on his wall, and they sent a picture of him with Joe's painting, which was just kind of fun.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want that kid watching Mongol destruction of Baghdad or the latest Mongol episode where.
I mean, to be fair, the Tsingtao one was still violent in its own right, but there were no. We will steal your wives and murder everyone in the city.
Yeah, like Jamaica.
All right, so then for this guy,
the commander of Temujin's. One of Temujin's commanders' head to his own horse.
Yeah, none of that.
Decapitating him or boiling 70 guys alive. I don't know that that's super kid friendly. I remember one of our cousins is a teacher, and she was like, "Oh, what is your YouTube channel named again?" I could show it to my kids, and I was like, I think they're like middle schoolers, so like probably depends on what age middle schoolers like watch the video beforehand. Because I'm like,
oh yeah,
look, it's not for kids, but it is not for kids. Yep. So Chicken Man, do you have paintings of the Anglo-Zulu War I can buy? Yep. So those will be in there. Let me show you. Here, I can show you how to sort of navigate it. Because I think you could just, there's like a function on the site where you could just search keywords and it should come up.
I can find it. You got to search by episode number, and it should be linked in the actual like description of the Zulu video. It should be linked that specific album with all the
if you go
artwork.
to the description of that video, it will always link to the art from that episode.
I'm just trying to find it. Zulu. Okay, so it would be episode. Oh, yeah. All right, so I'm just painting out this samurai now. Okay, it looks thoroughly Ghost of Tsushima to me right now, which is good because that was kind of the vibe I'm going for. I'm thinking maybe like red armor for this guy, like that.
That would look cool. What does the chat think? Chat, do we want red armor? We'll see what they say.
I just figured this guy's in blue. It might be cool to have something break up all the cool tones in this. Chat can make up a story about why these two are going to throw down.
Looks like we got some votes for red. Kevin's thinking pink, but then wonders if that's historic. I don't know if that's historic. I don't think so.
Pink samurai. Maybe like a very light red.
A lighter red. Yeah, what I wanted to show though, like once you go to Joe's art page, you can let me just show real quick because I don't want to stop painting for 1 second. Yeah, like if you go here, you can see, so Joe Shop, like once you go to his name, you can go to collections and click on history dose. And then, yeah, if you want to do Anglo
Zulu,
or you can just search Zulu and come up. Yeah, here it is. So Zulu just came up, and this is all the art from the episode.
Because it's been tagged with Zulu.
And yeah, if you wanted something, like if you want to do, I think if you probably put like cowboy or something. Yeah, you can see all of those Wild West ones. This one's a cool one. So if you want this up in your living room, you can go get it. You can see, yeah, you could get it for like $32 for a poster or something like that. But let Joe get back to the painting here. Okay, there we go.
This is like, so what I'm doing right now, where I'm just kind of gathering references. I'm not like, of course, I'm not really paying too much mind to like, oh, is this the right era? I'm just kind of gathering cool references of samurai. But this is kind of like how I do a history dose painting. Is Chris will give me a big document of all of the references, like hundreds of pages of stuff, and then I'll like paste what I need at any given time onto my canvas and kind of have it next to me as a reference to be like, okay, this is the pauldrons kind of need to look like this, and there's a cool pattern design on the helmet. But it's pretty cool because it allows me to look in here and like, okay, that's cool, like little ornamentation on the pauldrons. I can maybe try to do something similar to that. So it allows me to really like go in on details of pattern work. So I added in a tiny little accent of pink on this helmet for the pink
For Kevin.
request for Kevin. Yeah.
Chicken Man. Now that Chicken Man knows there's Zulu art, says already about to buy the art for my birthday. Awesome. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. Thank you.
You deserve some art. We got Eldon from Immortal Art coming out with some backstory. 2 samurai meet bound by honor to settle a betrayal that will decide. Let me do it in my narrator voice. 2 samurai meet bound by honor to settle a betrayal that will decide the fates of their shattered clan.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, here's another one.
Any lore
Not as-
about why one of these guys is kind of more decorated and heavily armored, and the other guy seems to be just operating with a pauldron and his
Maybe he's ousted
Robe.
from the clan.
Ronin.
See, the armored guy ousted the other guy from the clan and took his wife. And now the Ronin has come back to reclaim his honor. Wouldn't that be cool? Like a Japanese Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh yeah, that'd
Some
be
Goku
awesome.
period.
I'd watch that.
Okay, we have another epic suggestion. The 2 samurai are duking it out because one lost.
I didn't. You cut out for me.
To...
One lost what? I forgot.
Okay, here we go.
I mean, I didn't hear.
The 2 samurai are duking it out because one lost a bet after he couldn't drink enough sake. Yeah, so Joe, I don't know if you want to upload this tomorrow. If anybody wants to buy this, yeah, we could just throw it in the. We could put it in the description in case anybody wants to draw it or buy it. And
does anyone want to draw this? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just I can get lost in painting pretty easily. So if I sometimes don't talk for a bit, it's just because I get focused on all these little details. Man, I love antlers on helmets. That's like, I don't know why. I don't know why that comes across as like particularly badass, like having antlers on a helmet. But
it's always nice when there's stuff on a helmet that is there not for any practical purpose, but to either intimidate or sort of increase the status.
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody. So, oh yeah, so this was one of the cool ones from the Mongol episode. And I remember when we showed this on the live stream with Jack Meister, somebody was like, no, that doesn't make sense. That's not practical. And actually this, yeah, it is not practical, but this is Hu Shahu, the general. Just because it's not practical, it doesn't mean that it's not historical, because this is one of the more prominent generals of the Jin dynasty. Hu Shahu kind of goes mad at the end, but you can see a lot. So a lot of this kind of armor is a little bit more suited to that time period. And then this helmet is more of a classical Chinese helmet that you would see for centuries and centuries back, with these golden wings and lots of sort of ornamentation. And the Jurchen Jin and lots of other Chinese dynasties were always very interested in sort of portraying themselves as kind of rightful rulers or Sinicized in some way. Let me change. Let's go here. Let's get that painting back on screen.
I'm just figuring out the different textures and patterns for the armor to give the impression of armor on this guy.
Eldon asks, question for both, would you ever consider doing animation, Blender, or Unreal Engine? Joe definitely has the feeling for details. I don't know. I think there's something that works about the current style in the sense that you are kind of...
There's a painterly aspect that
Yeah, you're pausing to sort of reflect on something that, yeah, maybe it seems like it could have been painted in the 19th century, and you're getting these little glimpses into scenes of the past rather than a fully acted out dramatization.
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. um yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed if like someone came along and said, hey, like I would love to, like, maybe using your art as an inspiration, create some cool 3D scene just for fun. Would be opposed if they wanted to bring like a painting to life or something. That'd be kind of cool to see.
Ever thought of a video on the unification of Japan under the Shogun or the Imjin War? Yeah, actually, both of those. Yeah. So, actually, a while back, we did the Shinobi episode, and that one has it has some of those future warlords in it,
Yeah.
like Tokugawa Ieyasu. And so when that episode ended, the Ninja one, like Shinobi one, I thought would do really well, and it never really did. But it has
Yeah.
a little bit of a cliffhanger. Like we left the door open for a sequel, and that might actually pair really well with season 2 of Shogun. So I don't know, when is that
Is
coming
that
out?
confirmed?
It is confirmed that they would have another season. I don't know when it's coming out though. Let me look it up
It's a good show.
unless somebody else knows.
But it would have to be like not off of the book. It would now have to be off of history.
Expected release window between early and mid 2027. Dang, that's far. That's far.
Oh, we could jump the gun and just get ahead of it. Well,
So Joe, what do you need to add to this?
I need to add his sword. I'm gonna steal this guy's sword. I'm gonna make it bigger. Look at these little Photoshop tricks to save time. And then rotate it in a way that makes it look like he's drawing his own katana out. And then I'll just change the lighting on it. Like that.
So we're an hour and 33 minutes in. Basically made this from scratch. I shouldn't say
Yeah.
we. I didn't.
Yeah, I made this from scratch. I'm not opposed to doing like bashing in textures and stuff too, like from photo references. I've done that before, but it is nice to get everything, you know, from scratch as well. Then you have this painterly depth. The more you zoom in, is you can see, okay, that's cool. Like I can see the decisions of the painter at every stage here. That's what I always loved about, and I do love about going to art museums where you can go to some of the sort of like old masters exhibits. You might see like a beautiful landscape, completely like bucolic scene with sea cliffs and all this complex detail, maybe some ancient ruins. And then like the closer you step to the painting, the more you can see that it's not that. It's brush strokes, and each brush stroke is an intentional decision by that artist. And that's like something that, you know, it doesn't matter how good, quote unquote, an AI art machine can get, it never has that depth where you could ask questions about it and say like, why did the artist make this decision at this time, or like what inspired him to do this. And I remember I was listening to this interview, and it was actually about concerns. It was some musician. He's being interviewed about concerns over I guess there are new like AI music engines and stuff out there. And he gave an example about how he's reading this book by this art critic, and it showed, I think it was a painting of a duck or something. And when he looked at it on like that first page, it shows the painting of the duck. It says, "Oh yeah, look at this painting of the duck. This is one of Van Gogh's paintings." It's like, okay, that's cool. And it's an interesting painting of a duck. And then he flips to the other page, and it says this was the last painting he made before he killed himself. And so that imbues that painting with so much more than just what it is, which is a duck. It imbues it with now with like a story. It imbues it with some, some depth beyond just merely the painting itself. And that's what I think is like kind of critical to a lot of art. There's almost this three-dimensional aspect to it where you could go further and further in. You could ask questions about it. You could say, you could ask, why would the artist make this type of work, or what inspired this sort of mood or this sort of tone? And that's what I always like about art, is it tracks a human story with every
And
piece of
that's
music, every
with
painting.
everything. It's like the worst thing about AI art was never, oh, if they could just fix the fingers, it'd all be over. It's like, you got to think, actually, why is it so unpopular? And it is so unpopular, despite almost anybody who loves it is somebody like really trying to shill it and promote it, and they're very mad that people don't like it. But
Yeah.
it's a bit like, would you ever sit down and watch an AI generated basketball game, like that, not run by AIs? It's just like a video that was AI generated. Like, well, no, of course not, because it doesn't correspond to any real life event. There's nobody. I'm a Celtics fan. I could go watch an AI generated Celtics winning the 2026 finals, which they won't.
And there's no drama there. There's no like, wow, this kid, like, wow, I can't believe how well he's doing despite only 22. He must have trained so hard. And they're talking about what they did during the off season. There's no story to any individual moment. It's just pure,
it's
entertainment and
divorced
sensation.
from all like human reality. And so always the persistent problem for AI art that will never ever go away is that it's made by AI. And so
Yeah.
you're never going to overcome that. And the same reason why, if I want to show you what World War II was like with images of World War II, I could never AI generate any of those, because if they were AI generated, you would be completely uninterested in them because they have nothing to say about World War II because they're fake.
Yeah, people do that though. I remember I made the mistake of like going on Facebook a while back, and there's so many like history pages, and it will be like photo of the Trail of Tears, and then you like zoom in, you're like, this person doesn't even look Native American, looks like kind of like a white guy. These girls are wearing like Hawaiian skirts if you zoom in. But there are so many people like in the comments that will just fall for it and be like, it's like it's so like compelling, this image. Like, I can't believe what's happening to the children here. And people will do that with like, yeah, like World War II stuff as well. Here's footage of the event. It's like, no, that's not footage. That's something you generated. It's almost something that feels a bit irreverent about it if you're giving the impression that, yeah, this is footage of the event.
There's that photo of the seal of King Tut's tomb, which had been sealed, up until that point for, let's say, it should have been like 3,300 years or so, something like that. And, or over 3,000 years by the time it's found in 1922. And that little rope in the tie had just been there for 3,000 plus years. That photo is so amazing to me to just see, like, okay. And then it was finally opened. And that photo is only interesting insofar as it's a real photo of a real event. And that's really something. I couldn't AI generate, like, here's what it would have been like if Ramses the Great's tomb had never been found and we saw a rope there. It's like, no. And that to me is the same thing as AI art. Like, okay, yeah, you could fool somebody into thinking this is it. But But the same way with Photoshop. If you had photoshopped a a fake Egyptian tomb, well, as soon as I learned it's Photoshop, I'm now not interested in that thing. So
Yeah, that's very true. It's like it sucks so much out of it. AI is good at the first impression, though. It's like you could see something like that you take to be beautiful. Like, wow, oh my gosh, that is a gorgeous painting of this Irish landscape. And then you check and it says like generated by Midjourney. Yeah, that does take something out of it. Like there is something there that you lose when you realize, oh, no one actually went there and painted that. And this has been completely generated by a machine that has no experience of Ireland.
yeah. William says AI is terrible on Facebook. So annoying that every other video is a crappy AI slop farm. It has honestly ruined Facebook. Facebook
Yeah,
is
so
like
much as
largely unusable because of it. Eldon says AI sucks. We should ban it as in Dune. That's a pretty tempting offer. Like I'll take AI for like medical advances or something, but certainly like creative endeavors, well, people just want human created stuff. So it doesn't necessarily need to be illegal, but there should be a way for people to know whether this was made the way it's being advertised as being made.
Yeah.
Wait, another question is, do you ship out purchase art to other countries as I'm in the UK? Yep. So they ship over
Yeah, it should come.
that Fine
Yeah.
Art America ships all over the world. Or no, that's Pixels, isn't it?
Oh, it's the same thing. Pixels
okay.
is like the website hosting platform, but the company Fine Art America handles all the shipping and stuff.
Yeah, so 24 characters long is now in the History Dose Discord.
Oh,
Sharing
welcome.
some secure
Welcome to the
photos.
community.
So yeah, it did look pretty similar to the one you posted. Not so much in composition, but it looks a little bit like that guy in the back in a similar windswept field with the sword out.
Wait, what? I don't know. What are you referring to right now?
Let
The
me
one I
show
posted.
you. No, I'll show you what. Here we go. Here's the History Dose Discord. Remember, you can join it for $1, just $1. You get access.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is that the photo from Secura? Similar vibe, definitely. Yep.
Yeah, that and Ghost of Tsushima loves their windswept pampas grass.
William's got to jump off. All right. Well, thank you for joining, buddy. We'll see you in
William.
Peru. Remember, anybody else in this stream, you can join us in Peru as well. There's like 2, maybe 3 days more to sign up for the trip.
Yeah.
Message me if you have any questions.
Wish we had more time, but that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess. Yeah, I was just thinking with this corner here, I'm like, it's a little bare. I wasn't sure if I should add something in here. I don't know what it would be.
The thing is, you don't want to add anything that would add a new focal point.
Yeah, you want to add something that would draw attention back to here. But like removing that tree from here does look cooler over here, but it does leave this big empty space here. So I was like trying to figure out, is there any way I can get rid of that? Maybe I just put fog there.
They could vignette a little bit more. Zero Connection says, Joe, you probably don't have the time, but have you ever thought about doing a workshop? Love the artwork.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely something I probably would do. Maybe do something like this too, where I bring people through a step by step. Yeah, with just like time is the only enemy for that stuff. But yeah, I mean, Chris and I have we've done painting projects for other history projects out there, possibly something for an upcoming documentary as well. So yeah, we have our little side projects going on, so I wouldn't be opposed to trying to figure out a time to do a workshop. But yeah, I'm very happy. Like, there are still places out there that really prioritize human art. Like, I've had some, places reach out about art, using some of our art, like that Geo Epic magazine that used our Mongol art for their magazine on Genghis Khan. And yeah, I mean, they could have generated their art, but they wanted actual historical Mongol art. So hopefully there's always a place for a human artist, and I think there always will be, because of what Chris said, which is, I mean, the one thing AI can't do, no matter how good it gets at art, is make human-made art. So it's very difficult to do when you're not a human, to make human-made art.
Yeah, we had, or no, I was going to say is that I volunteer at a place. It's an after-school program with middle school kids, and what's pretty surprising and also hopeful for me is that the kids really love making art. Like,
Yeah.
all these kids grew up in an age where AI was very ubiquitous, and no one ever wants to use it for art. I mean, they just find it so fun because they know AI, or they know art is not about efficiency or just pressing a button, or basically, yeah, I mean, I guess like generating something exactly the best way possible. They like the craft, and they like the human element of learning how to shade something or how to depict their favorite anime character or whatever. And all of them love that. And there's no one no one is really sitting around going, oh cool, a new model update in Gemini, now I can make something that is so realistic it scares me.
Yeah, there's no student there going, well, like, I can just make the most realistic fan art of my favorite anime character by just generating it. All the kids like see there's a value in sitting down with some colored pencils and trying to make something from scratch. And then, I mean, there's a difference. If a kid came up to you and showed you their favorite anime character that they spent hours doing colored pencils, you're like, dude, that's awesome. Like, you did a good job.
Yeah.
Another
And
kid
it would be
could
the
come
same
up with a
thing.
hyper
If
realistic
your
one and go,
kid came back, if your kid came home and said, hey dad, I printed out this this photo of a samurai I found online. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you didn't make it, but I guess you pressed print. It'd be the same thing with AI. But it would be very impressive if the kid said, hey, Dad, I spent 3 hours making this in school. You might
Yeah,
go,
I know.
how did you have 3 hours in school to do that? Did you skip class? But then you'd be impressed.
I know there is the argument that some people will use, saying like, well, there is a process to AI too. Like, you might get your generation and you're not happy with it, so you send it back and you go, okay, edit this, change this, and like, yeah, there's some back and forth with that. But to me, that, I mean, at most, that makes you someone who's commissioning a piece of art. You're not an artist, because that's what you do with any artist you commission. You go, like, I've had this happen where I have like clients who will commission a piece of art from me. I'll send it to them and go, can we change like the colors here? Or actually, could you shrink them a little bit here? Could you like change the like face a little bit? Or could we change the lighting a little bit? So it's a back and forth process, but that person at the end of the day isn't going to take my artwork and go, hey guys, guess what? And show off his friends, look, I made this, I'm an artist, because he knows he didn't make it. He just had a lot of specific requests for me. So at some level, yeah, it's like part of this piece is his input, because like he had to request the specific thing. But I mean, the decisions in that same interview I was talking about earlier, about that guy who's concerned about the dawn of AI music, he's like, when someone's prompting a song, you're not making musical decisions, no matter how many back and forths you go with it, saying, add a little more brass in here. Is there any way we could change the bass a little bit? Let's change the tempo. Like, those aren't musical decisions when you're just prompting something. Like, that's so divorced from the actual end, which is like, oh, you get music, but like the process itself is just typing on a keyboard. So I don't know. There's a lot of philosophical issues that AI brings up with regard to what's human and what makes art art, and what makes art valuable to people. Yeah, right now I'm fine tuning this. Um,
Hello from Montenegro. Thank you. How's it going?
the fun thing
Thanks for
about
tuning in.
samurai and like samurai art and Wild West art is like there's this recognizable cinematic style to it. So if you can kind of capture that, it automatically makes it just kind of cool looking. Like there's just a recognizable style to two solitary figures in some vast landscape, like beautiful bucolic landscape with their swords drawn. And you're like, oh, that's cinematic. That's the same thing with like Wild West, like two solitary figures with their hands going for their holster, with a dying sun behind them, and some like swept up dust. That looks cool. So that's the fun thing about doing art that's kind of like genre art, is if you can kind of nail some of these key cinematic elements, you kind of already get like a cool looking painting. Oops. That's what I liked about doing our Wild West episode is, of course, we go for historical realism, but every now and then got to play around with the genre, like the music too, having like an electric guitar come in sometimes, and then a female opera singer and tubular bells going off when the two leads face each other down, ready to kill each other.
Does make me a little bit hyped for a future Japanese video.
Yeah, maybe we could even not use this painting, but use it as an inspiration for a scene. Maybe even use sort of like a landscape like this for a scene in it. We need to have more antlers in our Japanese videos.
Not gonna lie, it would be pretty sick if you guys did some videos on Middle Earth history. I feel like we might need to start a second channel for that. But actually, at Joe's art page, you can see he's done a number of
Middle
Lord
Earth.
of the Rings. Yeah, Lord of the Rings inspired things.
Where the Rings,
Yeah,
Witcher,
you guys can
Game
follow.
of Thrones.
You can look up Joseph Feel on Instagram too, and he'll do some different sort of like fan fiction or established worlds one. Like you did one on Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Your painting of that, Sir
Yeah, that
Dunk,
went
got
viral.
pretty big.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought your Frodo and Gollum one did pretty well too.
Yeah, yeah. Fan art tends to do pretty well. I mean, it just makes sense. You have an established audience. But yeah, my one on Sir Dunk actually went pretty big because I think I made that like shortly after the penultimate episode. And if I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was a very, very good episode. So I think a lot of people had specific scenes in mind that really stood out to them as particularly very good television. So I was like, yeah, I want to like paint that scene.
Yep. So as I mentioned earlier in the stream, we do have that World War II one coming up. That'll be the next episode on the main channel. We'll say now too, these will be released pretty close to each other, but we actually managed to get 2 interviews with World War II vets.
Yeah, so 2 separate
And-
veterans.
Yeah, I mean, so one is European theater, Army, and then the other one is 102 years old, Navy, and served over the entire course of the war before the U.S. entered the war. He was already in the Navy, warding off U-boats in the Atlantic, and yeah, I mean, he was at Iwo Jima, Okinawa. Like,
Yeah,
he was just all
he was
over.
a dream, like any history World War II buff's dream. This is your Forrest Gump guy who has like been everywhere, and could prove it as well. He had like the journal entries, like when he was like his actual contemporary journal entries when he was actually serving. He's a really incredible guy, and at first he was a bit reluctant to the interview. We're like, okay, like, well, that's fine. We'll get our interview with this other veteran too, and this other veteran is also just equally as amazing. And then we got an email while we were down in Florida doing that interview. This guy was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, we'll do the interview now." So we're like, "Okay, great. We'll have 2 World War II veterans and be able to cover a lot of ground."
Okay, we got a couple questions. We did talk about Craig Mullins a little bit earlier. Hey, Joe, do you know Craig Mullins? He's behind the art of CK3 and EU3. Your stuff
Yeah,
is pretty close.
I don't know him personally, but earlier in the stream was mentioning some of my like digital artist inspirations. So I do have artists that inspire me that were actual real artists, like Albert Bierstadt, a lot of the like romantic era painters, the Hudson River Valley painters. But then, I mean, I could list like 40 different artists that are long and gone that were actual real painters from the past. But as far as like digital artists, it was Greg Rutkowski, who's a Polish artist.
You've talked with him a couple times.
Yeah, on Instagram. Both him and I share similar views on AI. We don't like it very much when it comes to art. And Craig Mullins is the other one, who's just an American artist who I believe lives in Hawaii. And yeah, a lot of people, not to gloat, but will say like, "Hey, yeah, your art reminds me of Craig Mullins," and that's pretty observant because he is like one of my key inspirations. Like if you look up his art, he just has such a mastery of lighting, of composition. And he also, I mean, he's done Crusader Kings, Age of Empires, so kind of that similar domain of doing historical art, having to use historical references. So I've kind of like accidentally followed a similar career path where I'm making historical art every week. Because originally I actually began as more of a fantasy artist. Like all my early work was just scribbles of like, you know, dragons and warriors and knights and stuff. And then, yeah, I remember I was really hesitant to make art for History Dose because I was doing art. I was already like getting into painting for the first time while we had already probably had 3 or 4 episodes of History Dose out. And then Chris was like, "Hey, you should do this for History Dose." And I was like, "No, it's going to take way too much time." And it does take a lot of time. It does take way too much time. But
that was before it became a full-time job too. So
yeah. And then I grew to really like it. And then I decided to further my masochism by saying, you know what? it's not good enough. We need self-made music too. I need to stop licensing music and make my own music. So then I bought a keyboard and figured out how to use a DAW, and then bought hundreds of dollars worth of instruments, and then started making the music from scratch as well. But it's very rewarding. I mean, Chris and I, when we're in like a huge crunch, and it's like, oh man, we got to get this out in time. I don't know if I like putting these stripes here, but it's like super stressful. But once you get to the end of it, it feels really cool to have like this finished product. And for Chris, it's like his story is out there now, his take on these events, and then for me, it's getting all this art done. And it's just cool, like when you get to the end of a big project like that. And yeah, I know it takes time because we'll have like fans saying like, oh, when are you guys going to release your next episode? It's been so long. It's like, yeah, we are, trust us, like we are working really, really hard with this stuff. But hopefully, yeah, these next couple of episodes will have a faster turnaround because they'll incorporate real in-person footage. Maybe there probably will still be some art pieces, but will mostly be interview based. So what does chat think? Which guy wins this? What's the samurai lore of this painting, and like who wins this? I'm not asking based on what you see here, heavily armored guy versus barely armored guy, who wins this. I'm saying like based on your own headcanon here, what makes dramaturgical sense narratively for this scene? What goes down here?
I feel like I gotta go with it just feels like the armored guy is so cool that he's probably a villain.
Yeah.
And you gotta root for the hero just showing up. It's almost like a statement that he's not afraid to die.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we got because okay. Red guy wins because of gear difference. Warrior with Henry says warrior without armor wins.
Yeah, it's the warrior without armor. The
Ronin fights dirty. Maybe he's fighting dirty.
Yeah, is this like the? Is this a revenge story?
Yeah, or this one of the samurai was a Ronin, and the other is hunting him down for honor. Yeah, there probably is a version of this story. Like this is the Ronin who wiped out an entire village 3 decades ago, and now the guy with full armor is coming to take down the outlaw.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I love kind of the Kurosawa ends up having so much of the Western, like Wild West, Old West influence to it. So it's just rife for all those kind of like outlaw tales.
I mean, you do get the sense, though, you have heavily armored guy. There is perhaps some agility lost there. And like maybe this guy has really perfected defense of just like one heavy pauldron and his blade. Maybe there's almost like this confidence going into it that I don't have armor, but I lack armor because I know how to execute this style perfectly.
Yeah. Loved your work. The art and narration style. Just dropped in to say thanks for the entertainment and educational content. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Eldon's lores, yeah, the samurai meet bound by honor to settle a betrayal that will decide the fate of their shattered clan. The Ronin without armor kills the red samurai killed his family.
Yeah, that actually be
plot armor. Yeah, it does have plot armor.
That'd be a pretty cool like underdog story.
There's got to be a scene where you think that the Ronin was killed because his hat falls down, but it just narrowly the blade narrowly took off his hat, but not his head.
Yeah,
and then it zooms in, and the red the red guy is impaled on the sword of the Ronin.
Yeah, I could see the Ronin being sort of like some sort of roguish, almost Wild West character whose family was tragically killed by some higher political power kingdom, and so now he's just sort of become this wraith who travels the land, who serves no lord but only seeks vengeance. His lord is just the spirit of vengeance. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I'm kind of describing a Ghost of Tsushima a little bit.
Speaking of Ghost of Tsushima, why does it seem like there's a big focus on the Mongol Empire on this channel? Yeah, he's just kind of listing a number of the different Mongol ones. Yeah, well, we had an interest in the Mongols early on. The first Mongol one we did was Mongol versus Samurai, which was Ghost of Tsushima. That did really well, and then I think more and more, like, we became friends with Jack Meister. More and more just got so interested in kind of all of the different points of contact the Mongols have, where because they conquered so much, they conquered from Korea to Hungary. You end up getting, it's almost like a who's who of the medieval world. So you get to see these steppe warriors face, Mamluks and medieval sort of crusader style warriors, and samurai and Chinese and Abbasid knights and all that stuff. So it has been very interesting, but I don't know. We were always getting calls to return to the Mongols because we hadn't done them in so long. We hadn't really done a Mongol history one,
in like a year or more.
No, it was, so spring of 2024 was the last really Mongol history one we did. We touched on Mongolian history when we did our travel one the previous spring, but yeah, we haven't really been posting much Mongol stuff other than that.
Yeah, it might seem like we're mentioning Mongols more, but it's because like
we released some
History Dose got big because of the Mongols. That's what kind of put us on the map. And then we abandoned the Mongols for a very long time. And we did pursue a lot of interesting topics, Native American history, and we still are planning to do more of that stuff. Like we recently did just do episodes like the Inca Empire or the Tlingit people of the Pacific Northwest. But this is like our return to, what originally made the channel kind of blow up. I mean, we got the shout out from Joe Rogan because of our Mongol videos, and we hadn't done them in so long. So we've had like a slight Mongol resurgence recently where we came out with an episode that kind of pushes all the same buttons that the early Mongol episodes did. But yeah, it's exciting. We have more Mongol stuff planned, but we have a lot of other cool history that we're looking to dive into before we get back to the Mongols. I'm trying to figure out, I forgot what these hats are called. It's like Kasura or something. Can't remember, but I'm just trying to weave with paint a believable sort of lattice pattern for it. It feels so weird where I'm like, oh, I wonder what chat thinks. Like I just feel like I'm some like gamer streamer bro.
All right, so Rumpelstiltskin says, do we get a poll to decide who wins? Let me see. I don't think it lets me do it. But let me see. I don't think the streaming thing allows me to do a poll, but let me get onto YouTube and I think I can.
Yeah,
we'll do a poll to see who wins this fight. It seems like it's unofficially just become called Samurai versus Ronin.
Is that what everyone's calling it in the chat? Samurai versus Ronin? Or is that just what we're calling it?
Oh no, some people are just referring to the Ronin. I'm rooting for the Ronin. Yep. So Yeah, we will do some Timur or Tamerlane content. Hopefully hopefully this year.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And yeah, that would be sort of a brutal one. In some ways, he becomes a much more terrifying figure than Temujin. All right, let me set up a poll for you guys. So, Joe, is it
Kind of
just
like-
that texture that you're going to do? And you'll be
What?
pretty much done?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm in like the detail phase, which is like you can add as much detail as you want, but you're basically kind of done with the painting. I like to do this. I like to add, you go to sharpen. It's very subtle, but it kind of sharpens the image a little bit and gives it a more textury look. So like this is what it looks like. I don't know if you guys can kind of like make that out, but before sharpening, and then this is before sharpening, this is after. It just makes the textures pop a little more, gives it a more painterly look. Actually, you know what? Let's get his fingers showing a little bit here. Because I forgot he has fingers on his other hand. All right. Yeah, I guess this is. Here's the pretty much the finished product here. So what was that? About 2
Awesome.
hours of painting?
Yeah, about 2 hours.
Some references.
So we'll do a pause.
Yeah, this is why I like painting, is because I can just kind of create a world in my head and then put it on a canvas and not use AI. I have to constantly defend against that, and that's why I have to film myself painting for a movie length of time so people stop saying, hey, great AI visuals. I mean, I probably could have generated this.
People don't really say that anymore.
No, yeah.
I think
when AI first started getting big, we got accused a
it.
lot. And then, yeah,
But
I think we've
but it
done
was also dumb because it's like, yeah, just scroll through the catalog. Like, why don't you just stop and think about when AI image generators were invented, and then
Yeah.
scroll down and see that Joe was making the art before them.
like back in 2018.
I would say probably like 2019 is when you started doing more of the art, not just the editing. But yeah, with 2018 is June of 2018 is when we opened the channel. So almost 8
people
years.
could go to like my art station and see it goes back super far.
Yeah, I think it goes back to 2017. All right, so we got it looks like we got the results of the poll here.
Yeah, what are they?
12 votes. We'll see if more people vote in the chat, but 12 votes right now. We got Samurai, Red Samurai winning with 58%, Blue Ronin with 42%.
That's actually pretty close. I thought a lot of people were just going to go with the red just because of he's decked out, but yeah, maybe people see something in that Blue Samurai, that Ronin.
He has plot armor, as somebody says. He's not supposed to die in the story, and that's why he'll live.
Yeah, exactly. We just need a name for this movie. So yeah, what I just did is it's a similar process to a history dose painting. It's gathering all the references, having them on one layer, and then picking out the references I need when I'm painting something. So like when I was painting this guy, I like referenced a lot of these top samurai, and then this guy down here is referencing these samurai, and just kind of mashing them all together in my head and seeing how I paint it out. And then it kind of comes to life. I'm actually kind of happy with how I was afraid the grass wouldn't look windswept enough, but I think it has a pretty good motion to it.
Awesome. Looks pretty cool. All right, so Joe, when can people get this if they wanted this to hang up in their home?
I'll upload it immediately after this to my website, and then I think I can just do a direct link to the print, and people should be able to access it right away. It was like, so with like History Dose paintings, I upload them basically to like an album, and it takes a while for that. It takes like about a day for that album to become visible. But I think if it's a direct link to a print, they should be able to access it. And then we'll make like a community post. Yeah, maybe right away. Then we'll make a community post about it too.
Okay.
But it's been fun. I don't know, anything from the chat, any last second comments, or if anyone's interested in going to Peru still, we hopefully will be able to accommodate you.
Secretly, the red samurai is just Tom Cruise wearing a helmet. Tom Cruise is kind of short, maybe further down. Blue Ronin is a poet too. He knows how to better to swing a katana. It does seem like he could whip up some pretty cool haikus. Keanu Reeves would work too. Keanu Reeves, then it's not a fair fight anymore. Yep. So just one more time, guys. There's like between 1 to 3 more days to sign up for Peru. So just jump on to the that link right at the top of the description. So there's like 3 possible links you could go to after this live stream. You could join us in Peru. Yeah, just open a new tab. Check out the itinerary. If it's something you want to go to, join. Got these 2 guys. All of these amazing sites of the Inca Empire, all this stuff that Joe's been painting. Like I said, we got the World War II episode coming up soon. And then, yeah, the other link you can go to, if you're somebody who values human art and real content creation still, just check out. Did my camera stop working for some reason?
How long your camera has been not working, but I just noticed it's black.
Let me try to get it going again. Well, I guess if there's any time for my camera to go off, it'll be at the end of that stream anyway, so not a huge deal. But yeah, if you guys want to join us in Peru, check out that link. If you value real art and content creators on this platform and you want to fight the wave of AI slop, please consider joining the Patreon. Even $1 helps. You can join the Discord, say what's up. $5 to get access to 15 bonus episodes, lots of other cool stuff. And then, yeah, if you want to be even more generous, go ahead. And then that third link in the description is Joe's art prints. So if you want any of the art you've ever seen in the History Dose videos, it should be there. And if you want this one, it'll be up on that page probably in
later today.
20 minutes or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my camera stopped working, so thank you guys for joining. And until next time.
All right. It's been fun.
Peace out.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.